Listen, before you even blink, hit that like button because what I'm about to say might disappear real quick, allegedly. The internet streets are saying OTF is in an internal war right now. Quiet phone calls, unfollowing, secret studio sessions, people picking sides. But is it real or is somebody playing chess with the whole culture? At the same time, rumors are flying that the feds are watching twice as close after that so-called Big U move that didn't go the way certain people planned. Did Big U actually fumble? Or was he just a name they threw in the fire to distract us? Is this failure story facts, cap, or a cover-up for something way bigger going on behind the scenes? Why are certain OTF affiliates suddenly moving low, turning down interviews, and cleaning up lyrics? Why are old clips getting deleted, posts getting edited, and brothers not standing next to each other like before? Is it just business? Or is it pressure from people we don't see, but they do every day? Tonight, we're asking the questions nobody else wants to touch. Is OTF really fighting itself from the inside? Or is this just internet propaganda? Are the feds really turning the heat up? Or is that narrative being pushed to scare people quiet? And did Big U actually fail? Or is that just the headline they want us to repeat? Nothing in this video is proven fact. It's a mix of reports, rumors, and receipts you are going to judge for yourself. Stay right here, because first thing we gotta do is slow this whole thing down and really ask, how did we even get to a place where people are saying OTF internal war out loud? Because remember, this is not just any random crew. OTF. Only the family. The whole brand is built on loyalty, brotherhood, us against the world energy. For years, the narrative has been, we might have problems with everybody else, but inside, it's solid. So when the internet starts whispering that there's a split, a civil war, people picking sides, that's not light gossip. That's the kind of story that can change how fans, labels, and yes, even certain three-letter agencies look at the whole operation. Now, here's where it gets messy. Nobody's posting a flyer saying OTF war starts at 8 p.m. You're not gonna see a press release, we officially hate each other now. Instead, people point at little signs. A feature that should have happened and didn't. A show where somebody was expected to pop out and stayed home. A story post that feels just a little too subliminal to be just a lyric. Close affiliates not liking each other's drops the way they used to. Individually, these are nothing, but the algorithm doesn't care about reality, it cares about patterns. Blog pages see 3 suspicious things in a row and boom, OTF falling apart? Is there beef inside the camp? Now add one more ingredient, comment sections full of people saying, the feds watching all of this just like they watched insert other crews. That's when it stops being just music drama and starts sounding like a potential case file in the making, at least in the way people talk about it online. And that's where the whole feds watching twice as close after Big U's failure narrative comes in. Let's keep it 100. Big U is a name that carries weight in hip-hop culture, especially on the West Coast. We're talking old heads, street history, behind the scenes conversations, politics we don't fully see on camera. So when his name gets attached to anything, play, move, plan, meeting, whatever, the internet automatically turns up the conspiracy volume. Now, what do people mean when they say Big U's failure in this context? Are they talking about a failed attempt to calm something down behind the scenes? A supposed plan to get certain situations handled or cleaned up that didn't go the way it was supposed to? Or is it literally just a storyline people made up to make everything sound more cinematic? We don't know. We're not in those rooms. We're not on those calls. But here's what does happen. Once a few IG pages start pushing the phrase Big U fumbled or Big U couldn't fix this, it creates a myth, and myths spread faster than facts. Now, combine that myth with OTF's name and the word feds in the same sentence, and the online imagination goes crazy because this is how it works. A couple of unconfirmed stories come out. People link old interviews, random YouTube clips, half-heard Clubhouse conversations. Someone says, yo, remember when so-and-so said the feds already watching Chicago? This might be why. Now suddenly the new narrative is, the feds were already watching the scene, but after this Big U situation, they're watching OTF twice as close. Is there paperwork? No. Is there a press conference? No. Is there a confirmed statement from any official? No. But in 2025, The truth doesn't have to be verified to go viral, it just has to be entertaining enough, and that's the dangerous part. Because think about it, when fans believe there's an internal war and the feds are watching, every normal move starts looking suspicious. Somebody doesn't show up, he's scared. Someone posts a Bible quote, so he's snitching or thinking about it. Someone deletes old pictures, he cleaning up for court. Somebody moves out of town, счастье. Witness protection confirmed. None of that might be true, but once the rap gossip machine stamps a narrative on you, it doesn't matter what the reality is. Perception becomes the storyline. Now, what does this mean for OTF specifically? When your brand is only the family, even the slightest hint of disloyalty hits different. A regular crew can unfollow each other and it's just industry, but when family starts glitching, people go, if the family is shaky, what's really going on backstage? And that's where the feds angle becomes powerful, even if it's fake. Because law enforcement loves when the public talks like this. Public speculation gives them free analysis, free timelines, free theories, free character profiles. They don't even have to move. The internet builds the narrative for them, and as for this big U failure story, it serves a purpose too. Whether it's real or not, it gives the blogs a boss character to blame. Instead of saying, this is all chaos, they say, somebody tried to control the chaos and failed. That failure storyline does a few things, makes OTF look more unstable. Even the big OGs can't fix them. Makes the feds look more active. They tried to calm it before, now it's too late. Keeps fans locked in. What really happened with Big U? What was he trying to do? You notice something? We went from a couple of weird online moves to a full movie script about OTF versus itself versus the feds versus failed OG chess moves. All without a single piece of official confirmation. That's the algorithm era we're in. If it sounds like a movie, if it sounds like a documentary title, if it sounds like something a rap news channel can put in all caps, it's going to get pushed, whether it's fully true, half true, or straight fiction. But here's the part people don't think about. Once fans believe there's an internal war and federal pressure, that energy can creep into real life. Artists feel it, labels feel it, streets feel it. Suddenly everything feels more tense. People stop trusting each other. They second guess moves. They wonder who's talking to who's sending what, who's recording what. And it doesn't even matter if the feds are watching twice as close or not, because paranoia makes everybody move like they are. We're going to zoom in even more. We're going to talk about how online narratives like OTF internal war can actually create distance between artists who were cool before, why certain failures from big industry OGs become part of the legend, whether they're real or not, and how the feds historically use rap drama, lyrics, and internet gossip as supporting pieces in bigger investigations, even when it all started from nothing more than speculation and a spicy thumbnail. So don't move, because once we start breaking down that history, this whole OTF internal war, feds watching twice as close thing is going to look a lot less like a meme, and a lot more like a pattern we've seen before in hip-hop. Here's what people don't understand. Most of these rap beefs and crew problems don't start in a courtroom. They start in a comment section. Once the internet decides, yo, OTF got issues internally, even normal, regular stuff starts looking like evidence. Two guys who haven't dropped a song together in a minute? They must be beefing. Someone posts a quote like, loyalty over everything? Oh yeah, he definitely talking about the camp. Somebody goes live and dodges a question. He's scared to speak on it because the fed's watching. That's how rap media works now. Everything's content, everything's a clue, everything's a storyline. And the scary thing is, law enforcement watches the same content. This isn't the 90s where they had to send somebody to sit outside a studio all night. Now they just scroll drill pages, watch lives, clip interviews, screenshot comments. They let the internet do half the groundwork. People forget. Lyrics, music videos, Instagram posts, even YouTube thumbnails are getting dragged into real cases now. You see it in different cities, crews getting indicted with their own songs playing in the background, court documents quoting bars like they're written confessions. Prosecutors using YouTube clips to say, See, this is who they really are. So when fans keep pushing a narrative like OTF is in shambles, the feds are watching closer, Big U tried to step in and failed. Even if it's exaggerated, it still builds a public perception, and perception is something investigators love to lean on. Now let's talk about that Big U element real quick. Whenever a respected OG's name gets attached to a failed move story, it creates a whole new layer of drama, because OGs in rap culture represent stability, structure, and I can make one phone call and calm this down. So when the story goes, even Big U couldn't fix this situation. It creates this image like OTF is in such a crazy, uncontrollable place that even the old heads can't cool it down. Is that actually true? We don't know. Did Big U even try to fix anything officially? We don't know that either. Most of this exists in rumors, half-remembered podcasts, and my cousin's homies set Admax type sources. But here's what matters for rap media and the algorithm. The story sounds believable. The title hits. The narrative clicks emotionally. OTF internal war, feds watching twice as close. Big U couldn't stop it. That combo feels like a hood Netflix original, and that's exactly why it spreads. Now think about how this affects individuals inside the camp. Imagine you're an artist or affiliate. You still rock with the brand. You still love certain people in it, but you're also seeing thousands of comments saying the whole camp is being watched. Somebody inside gonna fold. They on Rico radar next. Even if none of that is confirmed, it still gets in your head. You start moving different. You stop going live as much. You stop posting your location. You stop doing big, loud group link-ups. You might slow down collabs with certain names just to dodge drama. From the outside, fans say, see, look how distant they moving. They definitely beefing. But from the inside, it might just be self-preservation. And then there's the money. Brand deals, labels, sponsors, and corporate platforms watch the same headlines we do. They can't always tell what's real and what's exaggerated. And honestly, they don't care. They just know. Words like feds, war, indictment, OG failure, nay or risk. So now, one wild YouTube rumor video can make a business say, let's wait before we sign this tour package. Let's not put this logo too close to that name right now. Again, it doesn't even have to be true. It just has to feel dangerous. Now, zoom out and look at the history of rap. We've seen this pattern before. A crew goes viral, blogs spin up inside problems storylines. The feds allegedly start watching harder lyrics and videos get replayed as if they're official documentaries. Suddenly, what used to be entertainment becomes Exhibit A from New York to Atlanta to Chicago. The cycle repeats. Internet content, public narrative, police interest, legal trouble. Sometimes the streets create the story. Sometimes the story creates the streets. And that's what makes this OTF situation so sensitive. When you put only the family in your name, loyalty becomes part of your brand. So any whisper of disloyalty, infighting, or snakery feels bigger than usual. A regular label breaks up. It's just contracts. A family breaks up. It looks like betrayal. That's why people latch onto these tiny things. One guy not showing up to a video. One guy doing a song with somebody from a different side. One guy posting "my circle small now" with a prayer hands emoji. Immediately the narrative becomes, yup, OTF breaking from the inside. And then someone adds, plus the feds on them heavy now because of how everything got mishandled with those OG Connect attempts. Sprinkle in Big U's name, claim he tried to intervene and failed, and the story is complete. Is it fair? No. Is it guaranteed accurate? No. Is it effective content? Absolutely. And that's the whole problem, because the more these narratives spread, the more everyone involved is forced to respond. Some respond by getting louder, more diss tracks, more subliminals, more lives. Some respond by going ghost. No interviews, no features, no public moves. Either way, the internet reads it as confirmation. If they get louder, see, there is an internal war. If they go quiet, see, the feds really got them shook. There's no winning in the overanalyzed era. Now, where does this leave the idea of Big U's failure? In a lot of ways, that phrase is less about Big U as a person and more about the story fans want to tell. A legendary OG tries to calm the storm. New generation is too wild, too internet, too deep in their own drama. Even the old rules don't work anymore. That's the myth people like to repeat. The game changed so much, even the OGs can't control it now. So Big U's failure becomes a symbol, a way for people to say, things are bigger than street politics now. The feds and the algorithm run everything. And honestly, there's low-key truth in that. Because these days, the streets might start something, but the internet decides how big it gets. And then the feds decide how serious it becomes. The crazy thing is, we might never know how much of this OTF internal war talk is real and how much is pure content. Maybe there really are silent disagreements, secret meetings, people distancing themselves. Maybe it's just life, business, contracts, egos, like every other crew before them. But once you wrap it in words like war, internal, feds watching twice as close, OG's failed move, it stops feeling like normal life and starts looking like a case study. And that's exactly why videos like this exist. Not to say this is 100% fact, but to put the questions on the table. Are we watching a normal evolution of a crew or a slow collapse? Are the authorities really turning the pressure up, or are we gassing it for views? Are these OG failures even real, or just stories to make the culture feel more dramatic? In the end, the viewers decide what they believe. The feds decide what they act on, and OTF decides how they move through all this noise. The only thing that's guaranteed, the internet is going to keep watching. Twice as close. Whether there's a real war or just a really good story. Here's the craziest twist in all of this. Sometimes it's not the streets, the feds, or the OGs that shape the story. It's us. The viewers, the pages, the bloggers, the YouTubers. Every time you hit play on a video like OTF internal war, feds watching twice as close after Big U's failure, you're feeding a machine that doesn't care what's real. It cares what's viral. Think about your timeline for a second. You scroll and see one clip saying OTF is done, another clip saying OTF stronger than ever, a third video claiming exclusive inside info from a source close to the situation. Half the time, those sources are a cousin of a cousin, a fan page admin, or just somebody who heard a sentence in a live and turned it into a whole documentary. But the algorithm doesn't judge credibility, it judges engagement. Did you stop to read? Did you comment facts or cap? Did you send it to your homie like, you seen this? That's all it needs. Now look at what that does to crews like OTF. On one side, they're dealing with real life street history, real contracts, shows, money, families. On the other side, they're getting hit with fake timelines, misquoted lives, headlines built around single screenshots. Put those together and you've got a digital storm that never really clears. And then, sitting in the shadows, you've got law enforcement. People joke like, the feds got burner accounts in the comments. Honestly, at this point, would that even be shocking? They don't need to chase every rumor. All they have to do is bookmark screenshot build profiles based on who's always next to who's always referenced, who's always allegedly into something. Even when all of this is exaggerated, it still creates patterns. And patterns are what investigators live on. Now, bring Big U back into the conversation. Whether he actually tried to calm anything down or not, the rumor that he couldn't is its own storyline. Because in the culture his name stands for, I've seen worse. I've been around real pressure. I know the difference between rap and reality, so when the story is, even he couldn't help OTF settle internal problems, it turns OTF into this symbol of uncontrollable chaos. Too hot for OGs, too interesting for the blogs to ignore, too loud for the feds to pretend they don't see. Is that fully true? Maybe not, but it's cinematic and that's why it sticks. There's another layer nobody really talks about, survival marketing. In today's rap game, chaos under clicks and clicks on money. So ask yourself, if the world believes OTF is in a dangerous, high-pressure situation, does that make fans more or less likely to click a video, more or less likely to stream a track called War, Loyalty, Family, Backdoor, Rico, etc.? Exactly. Danger is a brand now. Federal pressure is a brand now. The idea of an internal war is a brand now. People watch certain artists not just because of their beats, but because they feel like they're watching a live documentary. Like at any moment, something could happen. Somebody could flip, somebody could get locked, somebody could expose everything. It's disturbing, but it's also why these stories don't die. Now imagine you're a young artist in that environment. You might be thinking, if I stay quiet, I look weak. If I speak out, I might accidentally confirm something. If I deny it too hard, people think I'm lying. So what do? You lean into ambiguity. You drop bars that sound like confessions but are vague enough to deny. You post captions that could be about music or real life. You let people argue in the comments about what you really meant. And again, the feds, the blogs, the fans, everybody are watching the same thing, just from different angles. Remember this, not all surveillance is cameras and wiretaps. Sometimes surveillance is just letting people talk about themselves for years, and then hitting replay. Now, what happens if all this talk about OTF internal war is wildly exaggerated? Let's say in reality, there's just normal disagreements. Some people move on. Some people get quiet. Some people chase solo dreams. That's normal, that's life. But because the rumor is it's war and the feds are on them heavy, regular growth gets rebranded as suspicious distancing. It's almost like the crew isn't allowed to evolve. Any split looks like betrayal. Any new feature looks like a political move. Any silence looks like fear of an indictment. That's what public narratives do. They trap real people in fictional arcs. And that's why you'll see artists sometimes explode online like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Stop putting fake stories on my name. But by the time they say that, it's often too late. The audience has already chosen its favorite version of the story. Now let's look at the wider pattern in rap history. We've seen crews laughed at as internet drama, then hit with real RICO papers, lyrics joked on in reaction videos, then read out loud in a courtroom. Memes about the feds watching become eerie in hindsight. The lesson, hip-hop can be entertainment to the fans and evidence to somebody else at the exact same time. So when people throw phrases around like feds watching twice as close, OGs failed to fix it, internal war, we have to understand those aren't just catchy words, they're frames. They define how everyone sees the situation. The people inside the camp see friends, family loss, opportunity pressure. The internet sees content. The law sees potential leverage. And that's why this whole OTF narrative is so tense. Even if nothing crazy happens inside, the idea that something might happen is enough to keep fans obsessed, keep blogs busy, keep investigators listening. Now flip it and ask the real uncomfortable question. What if the entire story is overblown and the real failure isn't Big U? It's us as viewers? What if the real mistake is running with every unconfirmed story, turning rumors into facts because they sound exciting, letting algorithms reward the loudest, least verified voices in the room? Because once that becomes normal, nobody is safe. Not OTF, not other camps, not future generations of rappers who grow up thinking, if there's not a Fed or war in my title, nobody will care. At that point, chaos isn't a side effect and it's a marketing strategy. So where does that leave this whole OTF internal war, feds watching twice as close, Big U's failure saga? Somewhere in the middle of real tension, real history, real pressure, mixed with rumors, clickbait, and fan-driven mythology. Truth in this world isn't always clean. It's layered, messy, and constantly remixed. What we can say for sure is, there's eyes on Chicago, always has been. There's eyes on any crew that moves like a movement, not just a label. There's eyes on any storyline that mixes street rumors, big names, and allegations of federal attention. Whether OTF is truly imploding from the inside, or just moving through normal growth while the internet exaggerates it, the reality is this: every move they make now is going to be watched. Every track is going to be decoded. Every live is going to be clipped. Every silence is going to be overanalyzed. Maybe the real internal war isn't just inside a crew. Maybe the real conflict is between reality versus narrative music versus evidence culture versus the people mining it for cases and content. And the question that really hangs over all this is, when the history of this moment gets written, will it read like a story of artists who lost control of their own narrative, or a story of how they survived being watched from every angle, streets, feds, and the algorithm included? So now we're here. After all the rumors, all the comments, all the headlines, all the my cousin knows somebody stories, we gotta ask the toughest question. What do we actually know? And what did we help create? Because look at the pieces on the board. A crew called Only the Family, carrying years of history, loss, and loyalty. Whispered stories of internal tension, fallouts, quiet moves, unfollows, and side conversations. A rumored OG chess move tied to Big U. painted online as a failure, whether that's fair or not. A constant background hum of, the feds are watching closer now. They already learned from past cases. They ain't playing. Out of those 4, maybe only 1 or 2 are solid facts. The rest is interpretation, emotion, and click-driven narrative. But once the story is out there, facts and feelings sit in the same room, and nobody in the comments is separating the two. Here's the wild reality. Some people are watching this situation like a movie. Some people are living this situation in real life. Some people are studying this situation from offices, reading names off documents, and watching the same clips the fans laugh at. That's 3 different audiences for the same storyline. And that's why this OTF internal war, feds watching twice as close, Big U's failure narrative feels so heavy, because it doesn't just live in a title. It lives in real phone calls, real fears, real investigations, real consequences, but at the exact same time. It also lives in thumbnails, memes, reaction videos, comment jokes like Rico loading. So what do we do with that? What do you do with that as a viewer? Let's flip the camera for a second. If you're watching this right now, you are part of the rap media ecosystem. Even if you don't post, you like, comment, share, argue, repeat narratives. That means you help decide what sticks and what dies. You see a title like OTF Internal War? Feds watching twice as close after Big U's failure. You click it, you're feeding the storyline. You ignore it. It fades a little faster. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to click. We all love this culture, the drama, the mystery, the chessboard. But I am here to say this. At some point, we gotta start asking, am I watching this like a fan or like a prosecutor with a YouTube account? Am I just entertained? Or am I helping push something that could actually make life harder for real people? Because even if the internal war is just normal disagreements, the feds watching extra hard is half rumor, half assumption. The Big U failure is more myth than reality. Once those phrases sit long enough in the culture, they start to feel like truth, even when nobody can prove them. This is the new age of rap. The mic is a weapon. The camera is a witness. The algorithm is an accelerant. The audience is all of the above. So when you hear OTF is falling apart internally, ask, says who? When you hear the feds doubled back after that OG move crashed, ask, who actually knows that? When you hear Big U couldn't fix it, ask, is that a fact or just a storyline someone cooked up because it sounds dramatic? And still, we can't ignore the other side. It's not like law enforcement hasn't targeted rap collectives before. It's not like lyrics haven't been used. It's not like normal crew issues haven't been blown up into full-blown indictments. That history is real. That pattern is real. So if you're OTF or any crew like them, you're stuck in a crazy position. If you say nothing, people write the story for you. If you say too much, people screenshot it for you. If you move normal, it looks suspicious. If you move differently, it looks like confirmation. That's the new pressure of being visible in this game. Now, let's bring it back to you watching this. Here's what I want you to do in the comments. Drop a 1 if you think there really is an internal split inside OTF. Not full war, but real fractures. Drop a 2 if you think this is mostly internet exaggeration and normal crew evolution. Drop a 3 if you think the whole feds watching twice as close after Big U's failure line is 90% narrative, 10% reality, but still dangerous because of how it's pushed. And then tell me why. Don't just drop a number, give your theory. What did you notice first? Was it a missing feature? A funny vibe in a live? An unfollow? A random bar that hit different? Because if we're gonna talk about this, let's not pretend we're not part of what shapes it. Also, let me be 100% clear before people start twisting the message. Nothing in this video is presented as proven fact. This is commentary on public narratives, rumors, and how they affect real lives and real perceptions. If you want paperwork, indictments, and conviction breakdowns, that's a whole different lane. This lane right here is about how stories get built, how culture reacts, how power watches from a distance. If you rock with this kind of breakdown, where we don't just chase the gossip, we also dissect the game behind it. Hit like so the algorithm knows real conversation still matters. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we're not done. There are way more crews, way more cities, and way more narratives to dissect. Share this with someone who's been spamming Rico soon under every OTF post. They need to hear a bigger picture, because in the end, whether OTF is truly at war with itself or not, we know for sure they're operating in a world where the streets are watching, the feds are watching, the fans are watching, and the algorithm never sleeps. The real question is, who's really in control of the story now? The people living it or the people watching it? You tell me.